What if the first real proof of alien life doesn't come from a blockbuster movie or a NASA press conference, but from a Chinese spacecraft making its way home from Mars? In 2028, China is set to launch its most ambitious mission yet, Tianwen-3. This isn't just another rover. They're going on a direct hunt for life, planning to drill deeper into the Martian surface than anyone has before. And when they come back in 2031, what they bring with them could completely rewrite our understanding of our place in the universe. For as long as we've looked up at the stars, we've stared at Mars, the red planet, and asked one single, profound question: are we alone? We've sent orbiters, landers, and rovers. We've mapped its massive canyons and craters. We've found proof of ancient oceans and frozen water. We've even found the chemical building blocks of life scattered in its red dust. But that final, definitive proof of life itself? It's remained just out of reach. This is one of humanity's greatest detective stories. But so far, the trail has gone cold on Mars' harsh, irradiated surface. But what if we've just been looking in the wrong place? China thinks the answer is buried deep underground, locked away in a geological time capsule. Their Tianwen-3 mission isn't just another small step in exploring Mars. It's a bold gamble to try and solve the mystery once and for all. Scheduled to launch around 2028 and bring its precious cargo home by 2031. This isn't a mission to just look at Mars. This is a mission to bring a piece of it back home, and with it, maybe, the first real evidence of extraterrestrial life. This is the story of how they plan to pull it off, and why it could change everything. So, why has finding life on Mars been so dang hard? The planet we see today is basically a ghost of what it used to be. Billions of years ago, Mars was a warmer, wetter place. It had a thick atmosphere, rivers, lakes, and probably all the right ingredients for life to get started. But then it lost its protective magnetic field, and the sun's relentless solar winds stripped away its atmosphere, turning the planet into the freezing desert we see today. The surface of Mars is a brutal place to be, with an atmosphere 100 times thinner than Earth's. It's constantly getting blasted by sterilizing cosmic radiation. The soil is also full of harsh chemicals called perchlorates, which are destructive to the very organic molecules we're searching for. Any simple life that might have existed on the surface would have been wiped out eons ago. This is the big problem every mission has faced. Back in the 70s, NASA's Viking landers ran experiments that gave some tantalizing, but ultimately confusing, results. More recently, rovers like Curiosity and Perseverance have been game changers. They've found complex organic molecules and confirmed that places like Jezero Crater were definitely habitable once. But even these incredible machines have been stuck scratching the surface, only drilling a few centimeters down into the most hostile, irradiated layer of the planet. This is where China's past success comes into play. Their Tianwen-1 mission, which landed the Zhurong rover in 2021, made China only the second country to ever operate a rover on Mars. Zhurong's ground-penetrating radar found signs of major, ancient floods, which added more evidence to the idea that oceans once existed there. These discoveries were a huge piece of the puzzle, confirming the conditions for life were there. But to find the proof, you have to dig deeper. If life ever existed on Mars, its fossilized remains are likely preserved deep underground, protected from radiation. And that's exactly where Tianwen-3 is headed. To solve a mystery this big, you need a plan that's just as ambitious. Tianwen-3 is an incredible feat of engineering, a robotic ballet happening millions of miles away. So, what's the plan? It all kicks off with not one, but two launches. Around 2028, a pair of powerful Long March 5 rockets will blast off. The first carries the muscle, a lander and an ascent vehicle. The second carries the brains and the return ticket, an orbiter and an Earth return module. This two-launch strategy lets them send a much heavier and more capable mission than they could in a single shot. After a 7 or 8 month trip, the lander will make its fiery descent to the Martian surface, using tech proven by Tianwen-1. It'll aim for a spot rich with scientific potential, likely in areas like Chryse Planitia or Utopia Planitia, where there's strong evidence of past water. Once it lands, the real hunt begins. And this is where Tianwen-3 is changing the game with a three-pronged collection strategy. First, the classic approach. A robotic arm will scoop up surface soil, grabbing a sample right from the landing area. Second, and this is the big one, a drill designed to go 2 meters, that's over 6 feet, into the Martian ground. This has never been done before. By going this deep, the mission will get past the radiation-zapped, chemically altered topsoil and into ancient layers of Mars that have been sealed off for potentially billions of years. This is the pristine material that might just hold the preserved signatures of ancient life. Third, a futuristic twist, a robotic drone. Taking a page from NASA's Ingenuity helicopter, China's mission plans to deploy its own drone, but this one might come with its own robotic arm and claw. This drone could fly over 100 meters away to scout interesting spots and grab samples the lander can't reach. This not only expands the mission's reach but also lowers the risk of the lander accidentally contaminating the samples. Once at least 500 grams of rock and soil are collected, they'll be loaded into the ascent vehicle. Then, in another first, that vehicle will launch itself off the surface of Mars and back into orbit. It will then perform a completely autonomous rendezvous and dock with the waiting orbiter, transfer the precious cargo, and start the long trip back to Earth, with an expected arrival in 2031. When we say, search for life, what are we actually looking for? Tianwen-3 isn't expecting to find little green men. It's hunting for biosignatures, the subtle but distinct fingerprints that life leaves behind. These could be complex organic molecules that are unlikely to form naturally, specific mineral patterns made by microbes, or even microscopic fossils trapped in the rock. The mission plans to conduct preliminary analysis directly on the Martian surface. The lander is packed with advanced tools, like a Raman spectrometer, that can check out the mineralogy and look for organic compounds in real time. This lets the team screen the samples and make sure they're collecting the best possible stuff to bring home. The main goal is obviously to find traces of life. But Tianwen-3 has bigger fish to fry. The samples will give us an unprecedented look into the history of Mars. Scientists will be able to date the rocks precisely, figure out how Mars' climate evolved, and understand its geology. It's about piecing together the story of how a once habitable world became the desolate planet it is today, a cautionary tale that might hold lessons for Earth. That's why picking the landing site is so critical. Chinese scientists have looked at dozens of potential spots and narrowed them down, focusing on areas where water was once everywhere and the geology is just right for preserving ancient signs of life. They're looking for that perfect spot. A place that's safe to land but also has the best shot of holding the scientific jackpot. Really talk about this mission without looking at the bigger picture. For years, NASA and the European Space Agency ESA have been working on their own Mars sample return mission. But that program has run into major delays and budget problems, with costs soaring to a potential $11 billion and a return date that might be pushed all the way to 2040. With Tianwen-3 locked in for a 2028 launch and 2031 return, there's a very real chance China will be the first nation to bring back samples from Mars. This would be a massive shift in the world of space exploration, proving China is a top-tier space power that can handle the most difficult missions out there. However, this mission is more than a mere competition between two space agencies. China has invited international partners to join the Tianwen-3 mission, offering to carry scientific instruments from other countries and promising to share the samples and data with scientists worldwide, and to show they're serious about safety. They're building a specialized, high-containment Mars sample laboratory. This facility will make sure the samples are handled with extreme care, protecting their scientific value while also protecting Earth from any potential contamination, no matter how tiny the risk. Only after the samples are deemed safe will they be handed out to scientists around the globe for study. This mission is a huge stepping stone for China's even bigger plans, which include sending probes to Jupiter and eventually, astronauts to Mars. Sometime around 2031, a small capsule will blaze through Earth's atmosphere, carrying the secrets of another world. For the first time, we'll be able to hold Martian rock and soil in our hands, taken from a depth no one has ever reached before. Will these samples hold the definitive proof that life once existed on Mars? If they do, it will be one of the most profound discoveries ever, changing how we see the universe and our place in it. It would suggest that life isn't some unique miracle on Earth, but a common cosmic event. Or will the samples just deepen the mystery, showing us a world that had all the right stuff for life, but for some reason, nothing ever took hold? Regardless of the outcome, these findings have the potential to revolutionize our understanding of planetary systems and the conditions necessary for life to emerge. The stakes couldn't be higher. China is on a daring quest to answer one of humanity's oldest questions. We're standing on the edge of a new era of discovery, and the answers are waiting, buried deep beneath the red dust. What do you think they'll find?